You chilling in the garage with me and Rocky. Say what's up, Rocky. Rocky looking like, ah, shit, this nigga about to be running his goddamn mouth again. Rocky's over there listening to some music with me. We was listening. I had Rocky listening to some Barry White. He was chilling to Barry White. Now we talking. What you getting up for, boy? You ain't going nowhere. Hold on. Where you think you going, Rocky? Where you think you going, boy? Come on, baby boy. What's up, y'all? Hold on, Rocky want to get down. And put your leash on, nigga, because you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Homeboy. You ain't going nowhere. Hold on. I put Rocky's leash on. Nigga think he gonna go somewhere. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Come on, Rocky, sit down. Matter of fact, I'm gonna close the garage. Hold on, it's kind of cool, guys. That's the noise from my garage opener. It's gonna shut off in about 20 seconds. Yeah, Rocky like, man. But the temperatures went down. It got cold. All right, so yeah, Rocky, you can roam around now that the garage is closed. You can roam around now, homeboy. Well, I ain't gonna be here too long because I gotta get back to my music sound bath in a little bit, but I got Pasta Robles today. Cab Sauvignon. I'm gonna let Rocky explore the garage. He never really got to explore it like that. Anyway, we gotta talk about this though. This New York selfishness that's going on, you know? We gotta talk about this. And the Drake over here targeting black content creators. Talk about a motherfucking Karen. That's the part I made light mention of it yesterday on my live, but I didn't go in depth. But if you look and see, Drake targeted. Let me get this ink pen up. Get certain shit out of Rocky's way. I don't want Rocky fucking around my ink pen with no ink pens. But you see how he targeted exclusively black content creators. The more Kendrick is right. That's why I want to, I think personally, my song of the year last year, out of all of the songs, looking back, if I could encapsulate 2024 going into 25, what's up, Quan? PJ Allen, appreciate y'all. Geronimo Jones, Spirit Wonder. When I talk about it, I'm starting to see that Watch the Party Die is probably the most significant song of last year because the party is dying. And when I say the party is dying, the party, who's the party? The party are the people who just been following the mainstream bullshit the whole time. Not thinking for themselves. Just the group thinkers, that's the party. LeBron's the greatest. Drake is the best because he sold the most records. That crew, that's the party. I saw in the chat. What's up, DSB? Appreciate the super chat. I just saw Spirit wanted to say, I'm bringing back the East Coast, West Coast rivalry. No, I'm not. I'm acknowledging a schism that the rest of the country is tired of. You dig? we got to get back to truth. Just because somebody is giving a different opinion doesn't mean they're hating. Just because somebody's acknowledging what's going on doesn't mean they're causing division. Like how we talk about with the tethers. You notice how quick tethers to say Black Americans are causing division for standing up for ourselves? Since when does standing up for yourself cause division? It's only division if you see yourself as separate from me. But if you see us as one, you see me standing up for myself as a noble cause. But if you see us as different, then that's a problem. Calling out bullshit is not causing division. We saw this week, all the time, remember when I was talking about this whole New York thing, I was saying people, these New Yorkers thinking they did everything. The New Yorkers is like causing this division, saying that hip hop is only theirs and yada, yada, yada. It'll always be people in this chat and later on in the after videos talking about, well, I never heard no New Yorker say that. But look what just happened this week with Melly Mel. Will somebody get back up here? Look what just happened this week with Melly Mel. He didn't even talk about New York. He said Bronx. He was causing division between the boroughs, let alone the rest of us. And when it comes down to situations like hip hop and this music talk we've been talking, no more is the rest of Black America going to suffer for New York to feed its fragile ego. Yeah, he must. But remember, Melly Mel also is a dude that apologized to Eminem. He came up talking about Eminem, saying what he had to say about Eminem, and then turned around and apologized to his ass. Y'all remember that? That's the part I didn't mention yesterday. How Melly Mel did all that tough talk, but then when it came time to have a Hip Hop 50 celebration, all of a sudden he apologizing to Eminem. You okay, buddy boy? You okay, Rocky? So, you see what it is. So, when the rest of us know, when the rest of America gave so much that hip hop is used, whether it be rapping, which is coast to coast Black America, graffiti, Philadelphia, dance, the whole of Black America, the funk, the rhythm and blues. It's a lot on that tax bill that New York has used for this hip hop thing. So, and I gotta maybe even break it down from not even talking about all New York. Because when it comes to the Harlem Renaissance and things like that, Harlem, even though it acknowledges itself for its style and what happened during the Harlem Renaissance era New Yorkers didn't hold that over the rest of America's head. And what's wrong with y'all little egos, New York? To always have to remind everybody, it started here. So it evolved 100 times over since then, 1,000 times over. If it did start there, so R&B started in LA, in Memphis, in Chicago. Disco started in LA, so Funk started with James Brown. Heavy metal started in Seattle. House started in Chicago. Techno started in Detroit. So, oh, you started something. You want us to acknowledge every single time? What's wrong, baby boy? Rocky look like he got to pee. Come on, Rocky. Come here. Come on. Come on. You little stubborn ass. Rocky got to piss. Come here, Rocky. You got to piss? Rocky got to piss. So we about to go on a walk so Rocky can piss. Hold on. Rocky got to piss. So Rocky might have to shit too. Rocky done already took 2 shits today, so hopefully. Hold on, Rocky. Here we go. Let's go for a piss, Rocky. Come on. So, here we go. Rocky like, fuck all this shit. I gotta piss. Hopefully you ain't gotta shit again. No, get away from that bone. You ain't eating that bone. Get your ass on. Yeah. So that's what we talking about here. And let me tell y'all something. If you got an issue with me talking about it, I'm gonna keep talking about it until this isn't an issue anymore. We gonna keep reminding New York that you ain't that goddamn special. You helped create one of the many genre that black people created. You created one of many. You helped create one of many. The difference is what you created is a sample-based genre that is too dependent on everything else to stand on its own. Hip-hop doesn't stand on its own. That's the issue. The blues stands on its own. Jazz stands on its own. Rhythm and blues stands on its own. Heavy metal stands on its own. Why do they stand on their own? It's because, like, when heavy metal took what the blues gave them, they took it off into a whole new direction and created a soundtrack of their own that was not reliant on samples from previous genres. Rhythm and blues created a sound that was not reliant on samples from previous generations. All of these other genres created sounds that were not reliant on other genres of music, on previous genres of music. Hip-hop created something that needs everything else to support it. Hip-hop is like a motherfucking, it's like a damn near like a paraplegic. What are you eating on, Rocky? Come on. Eating on random shit in the ground. Like, I'm not even paying attention. This nigga over here eating on random shit. Come on. You little stubborn nigga. What is this you eating on the ground? That shit out the way. Come on. No. You ain't eating none of that, little nigga. So, as long as... Mods, we have the one corny joke rule popping again. So, I'm letting y'all know right now, if whatever joke you say is corny, because I don't see most of the jokes, if it doesn't make my mods laugh, my mods are gonna put you on timeout. The first timeout is gonna be for a couple minutes. Come back and say another bad joke. You get the rest of the day. So crack your jokes, but make sure they're worth it. I don't mind the jokes, but make them funny. And if your jokes don't make my mods laugh, then you're out of here. All right? That's the only rule. Crack all the jokes you want. No cornball. Weirdos. Be back. Oh, yeah, Rocky over here pissing. Rocky. Man, it's over here. There we go. Rocky want to piss. Keep pissing, little nigga. Keep pissing. Now, I don't think they messed with the signal. I was under my Wi-Fi, but I'm now taking Rocky on a walk. This little nigga wanted to piss and shit all over the goddamn place. And he know he can't piss and shit, not even in my garage. Ain't no pissing or shitting in my garage. You pissing shit out here on the streets, little nigga. But so far, Rocky's never pissed and shit in the house, so he's a good boy. Yeah. Yeah, so, come on. Ain't nothing there for you, nigga. So, yeah, that's why we having that conversation. That's why we're having this conversation. It's too much going on. Too much. The divisiveness is this overbearing need to talk about, well, my city created. Man, your city didn't create nothing within the genre, though. Well, we put it together. Okay, thank you. Now the rest of us are going to get back to celebrating. Yeah. Yeah, Rocky up here fertilizing the neighborhood. This little nigga got, I think this little nigga got 2 gallons of piss in him. Nigga only 22 pounds. And I think 21 of them 22 pounds is piss. That dog be pissing on every goddamn thing when I walk him outside. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't understand how you can sample so much and think you're original. How the fuck, Quan, in what world can you sample this and sample this and sample that and sample this and then call yourself original? In what world? Chat room. Help me out with that. Name one thing you can do, whether if you're an art designer, if you're a fashion designer, whatever it is, name one thing where you can just sample. Let me take this, let me take that, let me take this, and then stand on top of the table and say, look what I did. Name anything else. Not even comedy. In stand-up comedy, do you know how easy it will be as a stand-up comic to take one of Richard Pryor's premises, sample that premise, sample his joke, but then tell my own version of Richard Pryor's joke? Do you know how easy that would be to get on stage? To take something that Ali Sadiq or Corey Holcomb. What if, as a comic, I can get on stage and go and talk to some, yeah, I got all these side bitches like Corey. Man, I got a side woman. Jesus Christ was a side baby. That's one of my favorite Corey Holcomb jokes. Jesus Christ was a side baby. What if I was able to sample that part of his joke, Jesus Christ was a side baby, and then turn around and do my own thing to it? Do you know how easy comedy would be? Yeah, take Red Fox, flip a cigarette in my mouth and do all the Red Fox's jokes, but modernize them till today. Take a Red Fox joke, but instead of his 1965 examples, use 2025 examples. Do you know how fucking easy that would be? Oh, damn, nigga, you still pissing, huh? Rocky is pissing up the whole neighborhood. God damn. Are you good? You good, buddy boy? Oh yeah, yeah. He good now, I think. You good, Rocky? But I mean serious. See, is he good? Yeah, he good. You good, Rocky? Hmm. Yeah, Rocky marking all territory. So, but that's the whole point of what I'm saying about sampling. If I could take as a comedian, if I could take the best parts of an Eddie Murphy joke and just do my version of it, 90% of the hard work is done. The hard part as a musician is to create a melody that makes sense and a hook and getting the chords to work together. Writing a song, producing a song to where all the chords and everything work together, it's like a shot in the dark. You don't know. You might have an idea in your head for a song and that shit be ready to bang, and then the song come out and do nothing. The ability to take a song that's already worked and make it your thing, like to take a song that's already worked and use that to make your song, you've done 80%, 90% of the work. Sorry about that. Back on my Wi-Fi. Come on, Rocky. Come on, Rocky. This nigga staring at the neighbor like he gonna do something. Come on. You little stubborn ass. Or you wanna go back upstairs? Now let's go upstairs. You wanna go upstairs? What you wanna do? You wanna sit down here with me? You wanna go upstairs? What you gonna do? Come on, Rocky. I think you wanna go upstairs. I think you wanna go upstairs. Yeah, you wanna go upstairs. Yeah, it's too cold for Rocky down here. Let me take Rocky upstairs. Hey, how's it going, George? Let me take Rocky upstairs and then we can get back to talking. Huh? Yeah, Frenchie. Come on, Rocky. 4. Yeah, he's 4. Teaching him right now. Huh? Yeah, he's very calm. He don't really bark. Very calm. Yeah. Go here. All right, Isha. I'm on my life. There's Rocky. I just took him to take his shit, so he good now.
Okay, where's...
Right here. Okay. Lock me out.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, here, take his leash. Take his leash. There you go. All right, we good. We are good now. We are good. We are good now. Yeah. All right, we can talk now. Rocky done pissed, he done shit, and he ready to go back inside and kick on my wife so he can rub him all goddamn day. All right. No dirt. Just a giant glob of shit my dog just dropped that I didn't feel like picking up. And I know it's hard for me. I know that I speak from a musician's point of view, you know? And so West Australia, that's what's up. And I don't expect the novice to understand, but I do expect the novice to at least listen when you're listening to a musician. Not a rapper, not a beat maker, a musician talk. The hardest part about the song is getting that melody right. Creating from scratch a sound that's going to catch on. What's up, Lori? When you get to cheat the process, like I put up a post yesterday or earlier today. I put up a post. I said, name 10. Let me show you how important it is to have the right melody and all that stuff. I said, name 10. Can we name 10 hip hop classics or 10 hip hop songs that did well with a Latin or Jamaican beat? Music, Latin or Jamaican music, not just beat, Latin or Jamaican music behind it. Some people said, what's that song? Like, name some songs. Name some hip hop hits with a Latin or Jamaican beat or music and melody. If I move it slow, refresh your page. The Dipset anthem is some shit that only Dipset fans listen to. I want y'all to name some songs that hit hard, that got Jamaican or Latin music behind it. Yeah, name something that charted in the top fucking 25 at least. And the songs that people are saying sample Latin music, the melody and the rhythm was still Black American. They may have you have a song every now and again that may have taken a Latin bongo drum or a Latin texture on the top, but underneath the rhythm section, even the songs that have the Latin rhythm, even the songs that have a Latin rhythm on top, have a Black American under foundation. That shows you how important the melody of a song is, right? That shows you how important the rhythm and the melody of a song is. Name one rap a cappella hit. Name one hit in the rap genre that was done a cappella. Name one rap song that's a cappella, not a damn hit. Name one rap song with no drums and no melody, no bass. Can you? Can you? So Am I proving my point, chat room? Chat room, am I proving my point about how important the melody of a song is? Every hit, the biggest songs out of this world still have music behind it. It had a bass going on behind it. A skit isn't a song. A skit is a skit. But I hear what you're saying, West Indian Chuck. Am I proving my point as to how important the melody is and the music behind the rap? The DJs, whether it be Cool Herc, King Mario, Funk Flex, they don't create the music. They'd have nothing to spin without music. Rappers would just be aggressive poets without music. It's like New York is like the emperor without his clothes to anybody who knows better. Dougie Fresh is imitating a beat. He is the beat. He's not rapping. He's creating a beat based off the drums and the bass. But Quan, to answer your question, I don't remember the names off top, but Drake put named Kai Sanat in the lawsuit. He named a few black. It's like later on the pictures. I didn't go further down. If you look up the case, he has like 6 content creators that he has in his lawsuit, and they're all black. Breeze, you came in late. I didn't. I actually flipped it up. I didn't blame all New York. I'm focusing on the Bronx now. I'm focusing on the Bronx now because Melly Mel made it a Bronx thing, not me. Because the so-called fathers of hip hop, Africa Bambaataa, Melly Mel, Charlie Rock, yeah, people like Fat. Melly Mel said Fat Joe gets to say the word nigga because he's from the Bronx. So I'm gonna need New Yorkers to check that. Don't check me, you gotta check them. Melly Mel said Fat Joe gets to say nigga because he's from the Bronx and he shares a culture. Charlie Rock said Fat Joe gets to say nigga because he's from the Bronx. And when so much West Coast music was used, LA music in particular, to make New York hits, we can have something to say about it. Hypnotized by Biggie is a white guy from LA, Herb Alpert, out of LA, or recorded in LA. In Between the Sheets, Ozzy Brothers out of Ohio. So anybody from any part of America that a song, a rhythm was used to create a New York hit has something to say. Kevin, you must have got here late. I know the tone would be different if it started in Harlem, because the Harlem Renaissance, one of the greatest cultural movements in American history, in world history, happened out of the Harlem Renaissance. And you know what happened? You don't have the jazz guys always running their goddamn mouth talking about how important jazz New York was to jazz, and how New York was the place that swing competitions thrived. And even though bebop was created in Kansas City, New York is where it thrived. Hard bop is where bebop was where New York, the hard bop thrived in New York, like in Harlem. There's so much that Harlem did, but you don't hear Harlem niggas talking about that. Even when I study my history, whenever you like watch some old documentaries like from back in the 60s where they're talking about the Harlem Renaissance and what it did, those documentaries from the 70s, you don't hear New Yorkers trying to go around trying to claim every goddamn thing. Not people from Harlem. You don't hear that. New Yorkers are over here being hot-headed about some shit that's like bragging about wearing a pair of crutches. Hey, New Yorkers, when it comes to hip hop, do you know that sampling and DJ, that's all crutch music? Don't no real creator respect that. That's all you using a crutch. You had to loop a beat because you couldn't make a song. I said it. I said it. You have to brag about looping 2 bars because you can't create a song. Your brag is I'm looping something 2 bars somebody else made. That's what your brag is. Ultimately, that's what you guys are hanging your hat on. You're hanging your hat on. I can take. I can find better music than you can find. Is that what we're hanging our hat on? And you South niggas, y'all keep running y'all mouth. Y'all about to be next on this coming to this New York, the South. Stop generalizing the South. Everybody don't get to share the same credit. If you from Birmingham, you don't get to share credit with Memphis, nigga. Fuck out of here. Y'all far apart anyway. And what South are you talking about? The old South or the new South? You know, places like Louisiana and Memphis, I mean, and Mississippi, do you know that's technically the new South? The old South is Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Do you know that well over 100,000 slaves were sent from Virginia to the Mississippi Valley in between 1815 and 1819? Do you know that over 30,000 slaves were sent from the Kentucky and Ohio regions to the Mississippi Valley in 1817? So even when most black people have never studied the slave trade. The majority of the slave trade was intracontinental. Black people being shifted from all across the country, not from Africa. Do you know how many slaves went down to Georgia when the Georgia Territory opened up for slavery? Do you know how many black people came from New York? Do you know that Rikers Island was created to send black people from the north and sell their asses down south when they committed crimes? Do y'all know that? Rikers Island was a slaveholding facility, and then it took on a more prominent role after slavery was outlawed in the north. And there were a lot of black people who were in the north, Lenape people, Algonquin people, Pennsylvania, You have people who are old school from uh, Moors from England that were still living up in Boston at the time, in Massachusetts, that were captured and sold into slavery and sent down south. There are a lot of people who are down south who are probably only down south for one generation, maybe two. Most people really don't understand that. It's not like black people were all in the south the whole time. A lot of black people were in the Midwest and the upper Northeast and shipped down to the South during slavery when cotton took over. This is true. These are facts. When cotton took over tobacco as the trade of the United States of America after the cotton gin in the 1790s, the um, tobacco started having less. Put it this, the tobacco thing had already gotten refined a lot. So a lot of your tobacco slaves in Virginia, it was said in the like 1805, that we have more slaves than we can use. So Virginia, South Carolina, they were shipping people out of the port of Charleston to New Orleans. And those slaves who were closer and west of the Appalachians in Georgia area, they were marched in chains to the Mississippi Valley. When Mississippi got incorporated into the United States in 1815, and they weren't sure it was going to be a slave, it wasn't a guarantee that Mississippi and Louisiana would be slave states. That wasn't a guarantee. They had to fight for the right to be slave states. And when they got their statehood, again, over 100,000 slaves were sent from Virginia to Mississippi in that 4-year period between 1815 and 1819. Look it up. Yeah, that's what made the Mississippi River valuable. There are a lot of black people that are natives in the Ohio region. See, a lot of natives got captured into slavery two ways. One, during the wars, the fucking natives were too busy goddamn fighting each other, not these crackers, not these white folks, and the Frenchmen, the Anglo Saxons. They would give these natives fire water, had them fight each other, and then when they done fighting, take them all into slavery. Take the losers into slavery, and then later on give the winners some land and say you can have that land. And then when those winners get drunk on that fire water, they come and get their asses too. You slaves now, nigga. All this stuff happened. There are a lot of black people who were never enslaved, who stayed down south, by the way. Hell, my wife's family's from Alabama. Them niggas, they're like when the Trail of Tears came, they had the choice of marching or staying and being reclassified as black, and they chose to stay. They were poor, and they chose to stay. But in staying on their land in Alabama, they had to be reclassified as Negro. These are facts. Not how I feel. So all that come from the South. No, what part of the South? The South is diverse too. A lot of what we call modern country music comes from more the Carolina regions. But Chuck Berry, Chuck Berry, they called their music, not Chuck Berry, Fats Domino. Fats Domino style of rock and roll, they called it country music. But it was way different than the music coming from the Carolinas. The blues, And Tommy, it's Anton. If you want to find this information on slave trades, I can't think of the name of the book off the top of my head, but they're all upstairs. But search for books on the intra-continental slave trade, the slave trade within the United States of America. There's tons of books on them. And I just say start picking them out. Look for books on the slave trade within the United States of America. You'll find that there are more human bodies moved within this country than came from Africa. But if you just Google that and just go to work, find a book, read a book, and pass that book to somebody else who needs to know the information. You white people fucked up when y'all told me to go to college. I learned this history from white people in college. And I just recently, in the last 6 months, started reintroducing myself to this information. Because a lot of the stuff I forgot about. Like in college, I took it to pass a test. Now that I'm older, I'm going back and learning for myself. There is not the book. There's a whole library of books on this topic. That's why I said to go look for books on the intra-continental slave trade. The slave trade, go to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, find books on the slave trade within the United States of America, or go to Google or go to Merlin or whatever, and then ask them to tell you books on the slave trade within the United States of America, and you'll have it. Okay? So, but a lot of today's what we call country music that the white folks play, let me tell you how country music really the country music industry got established. What's up, Black Alpha? Salute to Black Alpha. That's one of my favorite channels right there. That nigga get me motivated. I swear, after I listen to Black Alpha, I think I could pick up a house. I think I listened to Black Alpha the other day, last week, and I just went to the side of my house and I grabbed a piece of it and just tried to lift that motherfucker because I thought I had the strength because that nigga's motivation. I was like, God damn. Black Alpha have you ready to stand on a ladder and fight King Kong? Shit. I'll beat King Kong's ass after listening to Black Alpha. People need to, hey, Terrence Crawford, if you want to beat Canelo at that weight difference, listen to Black Alpha before you start that fight, nigga. You gonna wash Canelo from pillar to postless after listening to that nigga. But that's true though. I love Black Alpha. But we got to have these hard conversations, black people. And I'm willing to take the bullets. I'm a big dude. I could take it. I could take it. Because I know I speak with love in my heart. My goal is for us to realize our greatness in totality. Doesn't matter which region you from or where it come from. The only thing that matters is you Black American. Because we've been shuffled all around this country. I'm teaching y'all now about the intracontinental slave trade, how the Ohio River and the Mississippi River was used to transport black people from the north to the south during slavery. How the ports in Virginia and Carolina were used to transport black people around to New Orleans in the 1800s. We've been shuffled all through this fucking country. We had an initial migration out of the South that started after Reconstruction ended in 1877. We had the Great Migration that went through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Now, we as Black Americans are literally in the middle of another Great Migration. We're in a great migration. 10 years ago, where I'm sitting right now, was completely black. Matter of fact, I had the only white tenant on the block. I rented out to this white lady, and trust me, she was not a gentrification white lady. I remember when Larry was out here, Larry was like, damn, Dwann, where you find this trashy ass white bride? God damn. These were some goddamn, what was that show? Uh Breaking Bad ass white folks. But this neighborhood was completely black. I go walk through the neighborhood now. It's probably 60% black now. Every city we're in, we're facing gentrification. Geronimo Jones, I didn't watch same. I don't even watch Breaking Bad. I don't watch enough white TV to give a good reference. My bad. But we're in a great migration now. So how long are we going to be tied to this bullshit? Now the rest of Black America, think about this. And this goes for people in the Bronx too. The Foundation of Black Americans, ADOS, whatever you call yourself, descendant of slavery, Black American that still live in the Bronx. This goes for you too. Black children that are coming up that don't know no better now are having to share their cultural creations and cultural legacy with Latinos that call them nigga. All because of a couple Bronx niggas that want to claim a Black American cultural phenomenon for their little ass borough. You already got the Yankees, nigga. Think about that for a second. And you ask me, who's your real enemy? Is it me for calling it out? Or is it people that say this is a Bronx creation and Fat Joe can say nigga because he's from where all this started, even though all of the stuff that started is something used from somewhere else? Who's the enemy? I have my ancestors backing me. They told me. I've talked to Miles through spirit. Talked to Billy through spirit. A lot of music in my blood. And they handed me something, and I honor it. How can we go and grow if we don't honor what gave us what we have? Yeah, Money Green, I have truth backing me. Think about like Stevie Wonder. Let's go back to, damn it, I don't have my laptop down here. Shit, usually when I have my laptop down here, I can play music. Think about Stevie Wonder and the song Sir Duke. At the prime of Stevie Wonder's career, on the pinnacle greatest album not only he created, if you ask me, probably the greatest album ever created, Songs in a Kid Life. Stevie Wonder wrote a song called Sir Duke, and it was giving love to who got him there. Sir Duke, what's up, Big Pontiac? Accolade 310, just because I appreciate y'all for joining. The song Sir Duke was a dedication to Duke Ellington. Satchmo. That's Louis Armstrong. I mean, that's Louis Armstrong. Go listen to the song Sir Duke. It's a musical love letter to the greats that got Stevie to where he is. Hell yeah, I only roll good blunts, baby. I'm on these billionaire hemp wraps right now. And I smoke good weed. Anybody who's ever been around me know you ain't gonna hit my weed a couple times. My wife called my weed elephant tranquilizer. My wife, she don't even be like, you smoking, you going down to smoke? She be like, you smoking that elephant tranquilizer again. You right, Quan. You right, Quan. I appreciate that. But but Stevie Wonder wrote a song called Sir Duke. Michael Jackson wrote a song called Remember the Time, Remember Who You Are. Michael Jackson always talked about James Brown and Sammy Davis Jr. Go back and listen to Michael Jackson's interviews and listen to him. Listen to the reverence in how Michael Jackson talked about James Brown. Like Michael Jackson went to James Brown's funeral and went and kissed his corpse in the casket. Frankie Beverly and Maze. When Marvin Gaye died, they wrote a song called Silky, Silky Soul Singer. That was a dedication to Marvin. We miss you, Brother Marvin. Silky, Silky Soul Singer. Diana Ross, Missing You. Ooh, I'm missing you. Tell me how the road turned. That was Marvin Gaye. Stevie Wonder, Mickey's Monkey. That was an ode to Minnie the Moocher, Cab Calloway, in a lot of ways. James Brown got on covering a Louis Jordan song, Caledonia. Caledonia, Caledonia, what make you... That James Brown got on to Caledonia. And anytime you heard, the reason why I found out who Louis Jordan was and how important he was, that was through listening to a James Brown interview. And him talk about Louis Jordan was one of his biggest influences. The Night Shift by the Commodores, yeah. Talking about Jackie Wilson. Michael Jackson always talked about Jackie Wilson. There was a time we honored where we got it from. And if you think about it, those who honor where we got it from are the ones who left us a timeless music that's forever going to be here. Yeah, Donnie by the Whispers. Now, contrast that with Melly Mel's most recent interview. Contrast that with the whole year of Hip Hop 50. "2023 was a year of celebrations of hip hop. Can you name one time George Clinton was honored? And he's still alive. Bootsy Collins. Let's talk about people who are alive. Bootsy Collins, Steve Arrington, George Clinton, hell, Quincy Jones. George Duke has passed away. Rest in peace, George Duke. But George Duke owes that. Name the times that you heard somebody stop and say, but we got to give it up to James Brown first. Because without James Brown, we wouldn't have this thing. Name one hip hop 50 interview where somebody stopped and said that. Name one time Shaka Khan was honored. Name one time Motown was honored. I'm not even gonna get into jazz because these niggas is dumb. They don't listen to jazz other than, well, I take that back. They do listen to jazz. Let me rewind that. A lot of them DJs listen, but they only listening to sample. Do you see the bone that I'm picking right now with hip hop? Is it making sense to you? Or do I just sound like an evil, tyrannical person who's just running his mouth? Herbie Hancock, thank you, mister. The song that legitimized hip hop to the mainstream was Rocket by Herbie Hancock. Discovered by Donald Byrd, put on by Miles Davis. Herbie Hancock's Rocket. Talk about b-boying? Rocket. How many times was Rocket honored for giving hip-hop a mainstream stamp? Isley Brothers. Ronald Isley. The Isley Brothers' first hit was 1959. Rudolph Isley just died last year. Ernie's still alive. Ron is still alive. Hip hop has used so much. Not only have they used Isley Brothers music, they use Isley Brothers swag and style. Rudolph Isley with the whole cane and a cape. That nigga, what? How many times is Curtis Mayfield honored? Chat room, correct me if I'm wrong. Hip hop had 50 years. Had a whole year to honor. And it was basically a big ass, sad ass circle jerk. And I went to some hip hop 50 concerts. I went to the one here at the Hollywood Bowl when they used the Roots Picnic as a hip hop. It was a dope concert. Who honored Mtume? James Mtume. See, it took Herbie Hancock to embrace synthesized music along with Mtume, James Mtume. Mtume was a classical jazz musician that comes from a line of jazz families. But when Mtume dropped Juicy Fruit, see, it wasn't hip hop that legitimized that electronic sound. It was rhythm and blues that legitimized it. And when Juicy Fruit dropped, doom, do 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 do. When Juicy Fruit dropped, that changed how hip hop was produced. Yeah, Zapp and Roger. See, Zapp, when they added the electronic instruments to their live sound, because if you go back to Zapp when they were under George Clinton, on song "Do It, Roger," I love that song "Do It, Roger." Do it, Roger, do it. If you listen to their evolution from "Do It, Roger" to computer love. How many times was Zapp and Roger honored at Hip Hop 50? How many times was Isaac Hayes honored? This is what I mean. And then I got to listen to Melly Mel and Charlie Rock say, this is what we started, without ever giving love to the fucking radio DJs y'all was imitating. Broken glass everywhere. You sound like any 60s radio jock. So all the fucking, from Jocko Henderson, that's how they all sounded. Broken glass everywhere. You were imitating the people on the radio. Everybody in hip hop grew up listening to the originals, the dramatics. And no Hip Hop 50 celebrated any of these people. But you've taken so much of their music. Stevie Wonder never sampled Duke Ellington for anything. He created all of his music original. But he still honored Duke. Now we have Drake. And because we don't honor where we come from, we're left with Drake. Drake is only able to get to the top when the group has no honor for his creation. As funky as David Bowie could get, he could never get to the top of funk. Funk wouldn't allow that to happen. As funky as that song Fame was. Yeah, cool, funky song, great. Next story. Back to what we doing over here, Ohio players. Little Richard never accepted Elvis being on top. Never did. Chuck Berry, they all called it out. They didn't shut up. They just didn't have an internet. Go back when we was kids. If you grew up press number 1 if you grew up in the 80s and you remember Little Richard being on all he's come on Arsenio. Y'all remember that one? It was one award show Little Richard was on. Me and my sister used to imitate Little Richard. But I remember I was probably 8 or 9 years old. Little Richard was on an award show and he was like, and the winner is me. And he kept doing that. And he was like, I created it all. Little Richard never let it go. Every interview he talked about how they steal from us. And he will make himself as an example because he was. Yeah, Jamar, shut up. Ray Charles too, you right, Comp Tableau. Ray Charles, and it was an interview and Bob Costas asked Ray Charles about Elvis. And Ray Charles is like, who the fuck is Elvis? He wasn't nobody. He didn't use them words, but that's what he said. Contrast those people with these hip hop guys. One person I will give an exception to in a lot of ways when it comes to this is Kendrick actually works with George Clinton now, and he didn't talk at all. And he didn't say anything during Hip Hop 50. Snoop didn't say much during Hip Hop 50, but you can count a lot of Snoop interviews where he talks about the dramatics. Snoop talks a lot about the dramatics and what Snoop has done with Charlie Wilson and how Snoop, in a majority of his interviews, he openly talks about the influence of Charlie Wilson and all that stuff. Too Short also. But Too Short wasn't featured in a lot of this Hip Hop 50 stuff either. Why Too Short didn't have a more prominent role in Hip Hop 50 when Too Short has been around just as long as LL Cool J? Because going back to that New York Selfishness, Too Short's a fucking icon. Literally got it out the trunk. Since the 80s. Too Short really helped establish Atlanta. Man, Big Crit is one of the good ones. But let's go back to Too Short. Too Short was not more underground. Too Short discovered Little John. Too Short, when he got to Atlanta in 94, really popped off Atlanta outside of Outkast. Too Short. And Atlanta niggas really don't be acknowledging that. But Too Short got Atlanta popping. Never forget that. And Too Short had his biggest crossover hit late when he got his fucking 40s with Blow the Whistle. Too Short's biggest crossover hit happened late in his 40s. I mean, not late in his 40s, but in his 40s. Too Short came out the same year as LL Cool J, 1980. Too Short got Atlanta popping. Next to Outkast. No, Too Short's from LA. Don't say he's from the South. Too Short's actually born in LA. He's from LA. He was in LA up to 8th grade. 8th grade, he moved to Oakland. No, LL is more New York than Too Short. No rap was mainstream when LL was at his hottest. Rap, sometimes people forget how what it was. Rap was never mainstream in the 80s. It would be a couple songs that would get on the radio, but rap was a fringe music in the 80s. When we look back at, and the 90s, go back to the golden era of rap. Too Short wasn't going, I mean, Tupac couldn't outsell TLC. R&B was still king during the golden era of rap. Biggie, Tupac, Snoop, Dre. Them niggas wasn't touching Tony Braxton's what Tony Braxton was doing at the time, or Whitney Houston, or Michael Jackson. Rap was fringe music. So let's not act like LL was just some mainstream artist. No, LL was hot within rap. TV got LL mainstream. LL did his acting thing. But when LL was at his best, rap was still a side music. New Jack Swing R&B artist was doing way better than people in hip hop. Somebody said sorry, bro. Anybody says sorry, bro, you know they ain't saying shit after that. You said Too Short was a devolution. How did Too Short dissolve what you see? While New Yorkers were trying to find record labels to get on, Def Jam, whatever, Too Short introduced to the game, literally getting it out the trunk. becoming a millionaire out your trunk. Too Short introduced that level of hustle to hip hop. What do you mean he took away? Do you know who Too Short is? Too Short used to go around. Too Short introduced business to hip hop. Too Short showed us a way to make hip hop without a white person controlling you. Because Def Jam still had Rick Rubin's white ass sitting right there. Can we, Too Short, if we followed the Too Short model, hip hop will still be black. Can we tell the whole truth? It's the New York model that said, man, I gotta get a contract. I need to sign some white people. That was the New York model. The West Coast model was like, man, fuck them. Get it out the trunk. The industry had to come to the streets out here. The industry had to come to the streets out here. NWA was out the trunk. That's why Jerry Heller came to the table. And you saw when Jerry Heller put that bullshit deal out there, Ice Cube left. Ice Cube said, fuck you, nigga. I ain't signing that, nigga. Yeah, Too Short taught Master P, and Master P took that game back down to the South. Master P learned that game in Oakland. MC Hammer was out the trunk. That's how the reason why MC Hammer was able to sign the biggest deal in rap history at the time was because MC Hammer proved he can get it out of his trunk. MC Hammer showed the record labels he didn't need them. See, we gotta go back and psychoanalyze hip hop. When you limit hip hop to New York, you miss a whole deal that's absolutely critical to the development of hip hop. If you only keep it New York, you miss so much of the story that allow hip hop to flourish. Because if you keep it in New York, hip hop dies. They would just kill it. It would have been killed off. They've killed off so many forms of our music before. You said Crazy Tunes taught you how to rap? Yeah, rest in peace. Crazy Tunes. Yeah, probably. Yeah, they all let like, well, yep. You're right, Lori. Yep. So Too Short taught us how to get it out the trunk. Too Short taught us how to hustle. Too Short used to go around and jump hood to hood. And whoever the shot callers was, he would rap a song about them calling the shots. And then when you go back to Too Short, if you really listen to like albums like Short Dogs in the House, he has a song, Funky. But that song is all about standing tall and being positive. Too Short always balanced the pimping with real life game. Too Short didn't stop. It's an interview Too Short did about in the early 2000s when he talked about how when he started to go completely vulgar, it's because the industry, oh yeah, E40 out the trunk. It was the industry told him to do a most vulgar album he can do, and he can do his next album could be conscious. Mind you, when you're under a record deal, they now control what goes on your album. When Too Short was independent before he signed the deal, every song, every album had a balance of life game. Yeah, Short but Funky, The Ghetto. Even that song when he went down to Atlanta. My favorite Too Short album is Cocktails. That's when he first went to Atlanta. He had These Are the Tales, the freaky tales. These are the tales that I tell so well. Don't like my dirty raps, you can go to hell. Man, but on that same album, Too Short got a song called Sample the Funk. And on that song, Sample the Funk, He talks about him, Shorty B, Pee Wee, making live versions of the music. That way they don't have to do sample clearance. And he gave a whole lesson to artists on making sure that they clear their samples. Somebody say Kid Frost La Raza. You know that was a spin on Herbie Hancock, that song La Raza? That was a chopped up Herbie Hancock. But Too Short always gave you life game with the pimping. Too Short can get you, a lot of Too Short's music was very positive. It wasn't until he signed that deal and the record label pushed him into just the pimping. Yeah, Too Short and Banks a dangerous crew, man. So, chat room, are you starting to understand my point of view more now as to why we gotta humble New York? Because for all that shit you talk, New York, y'all wasn't the first people to do a 24-hour radio station that was hip hop exclusive. That had it in LA. Oakland taught hip hop how to get it out the trunk and make money. So many of those New York guys, when you listen to this, like watch Microphone Check and you listen to their stories, they stopped because they had to go get jobs. Because life's. You got kids, you get a girlfriend, you gotta move out your mama's house, you gotta make money. So a lot of y'all had to go back to work. The West Coast taught you, nah. You can get it out the trunk. You do this shit for a living. You don't need that white man. That's what the West Coast brought to hip hop. How dare you not get a West credit? And we talking about 1981. This is before the message. What's up, Miriam? Why didn't New York get the first 24-hour radio station if it's such a New York thing? Why do you got to keep reminding everybody, look where we started? Well, okay, you started it, but you didn't sustain it. Hip hop is still alive because it was sustained. How did it get sustained? Because everybody else put in. The West put in and chipped in. The Midwest put in and chipped in. Memphis put in and chipped in. Atlanta. Everybody else put in and chipped in. That's how it survived and thrived. And you ain't the only thing. Matter of fact, if we're going to really look at hip hop in totality, look what we got. New York, y'all gave us 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and y'all supported Drake in his back and forth. And look what Drake did. Lawsuit Drake. Y'all supported Drake just so an LA nigga couldn't win. Think about that. Think about Cam, Mace, Jim Jones even now, 50. Think about all these New York niggas that supported Drake just so LA couldn't get a win. And they supported a motherfucker that's now bringing lawsuits to hip hop. Chat room, tell me when I'm wrong. Salute to Mos Def for calling him out. Salute to Mos Def for calling Drake out years ago. But y'all, a lot of New Yorkers got mad at Mos Def for calling him out. Drake should have been gone. DMX, salute to DMX at least. Oh, but y'all don't. So, oh yeah, but DMX ain't from Queens, so he don't count. Tell me when I'm wrong. DMX ain't from Queens, so he don't count. Y'all supported Drake just so a LA nigga can win. And now the person you supported bringing lawsuits. You see why? Yeah, Louisiana put in big chips. You see why I'm targeting New York so much? We got a Drake problem. And y'all supported that shit just so an LA nigga couldn't win. You turn your back on another black American for a fucking Canadian that's colonizing your sound. And now putting lawsuits in, and it's gonna change battle rap forever. Cause you niggas are so goddamn selfish with your sound. Had a 50 years of hip hop celebration, and Michael Jackson wasn't mentioned once. James Brown wasn't mentioned once. George Clinton, Junie Morrison, Bernie Worrell, Billy Bass, Mark Adams, Steve Arrington. Barry White, Clyde Stubblefield, Max Roach, Nina Simone, right? I done said Bootsy like 18 times. Maurice White, yeah. None of these people you've taken so, again, at minimum, because you've taken so much of their music. You didn't do it alone. You didn't create them chords for your biggest hits. You borrowed them, you took Ahmad Jamal's. It's Ahmad Jamal. Whose world is this? That's Ahmad Jamal. Ahmad Jamal died in 2023, the 50th year of hip hop in his 90s. And hip hop couldn't say thank you for the chords that gave us one of the greatest songs of hip hop history. Whose World Is This by Nas? You right. Lonnie Liston Smith, Roy Ayers, Donald Byrd, Johnny Hammond Smith, Frida Payne, Diana Ross. Anita Baker. Well, at least, see, Kendrick, if y'all look at what Kendrick just did with DNX, that whole GNX album was a dedication to Anita Baker. Thank you for that, Kendrick, for dedicating basically a whole album to Anita Baker. When that lady was singing in Spanish, she's talking about Anita Baker. That whole album was talking about Anita Baker. Appreciate that, Rev. And I was saying this for a reason. our ancestors got our back, man. We gotta honor them for real. We as a we as a people, we got like gods. Like when I was working with kids, I didn't need to talk about comic book heroes to black children when I was working with kids. I just got to talk. I just told them about who lived. Yeah, there was this guy named Miles Davis, and he created 4 different unique subgenres within jazz: modal jazz, jazz fusion, jazz cover, and cool. 4 distinctly different styles of jazz. One man created. And you know when Miles Davis went on that run of creating new genres, it was after he realized that he couldn't do bebop. Think about that for a second. Think about that story they tell us as black people. Miles Davis wanted to do bebop like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie. Dizzy Gillespie was somebody he really admired. And bebop was the sound of the day. That was the sound of the day. But after playing with Charlie Parker and playing in those bebop clubs in New York, after leaving East St. Louis, Miles realized bebop wasn't his style. Miles didn't keep up with Max Roach on them drums and Art Blakey and those guys. They was playing at a pace. The pace of bebop was too much for the greatest trumpet player of all time, Miles Davis. I think we can commonly, there's a consensus among that, you know? Miles Davis couldn't keep up with bebop. And he was basically run off the spot because didn't keep up. So Miles Davis moves to LA. He comes to LA and he gets in sync with and in tune with the vibration of LA. And that changes him musically. The chill of this city. And he comes up with an album called Birth of the Cool. Now, when you listen to soft jazz, Kenny G, Dave Brubeck, Take 5, the LA sound, that when you listen to this soft jazz, know that came out of Miles Davis realizing the sound of the day bebop wasn't something for him. He lost out on that competition. Drake, he lost the battle. The great Miles Davis lost the battle. But it spurred him to create a whole new genre of music that still exists today. Then after Miles Davis created Birth of the Cool and Cool Jazz, he went into the more modal sound of jazz, arranged with the improvisation. And then when he got bored with that, He reminded us about our Moorish history. In 1960, with an album called Sketches of Spain. Miles went back to Europe, back to Spain, and studied what was going on, the music of the Moors, and created sketches of Spain. Then he created the greatest album in jazz history, with probably the greatest band in jazz history, with Kind of Blue. Kind of Blue has been on the jazz top 50 for like over 60 years now, because it never quite falls out of the top 50, top 100. Because as people get introduced to jazz, the album, if you want to get introduced to jazz properly, is probably Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. And after making the most perfect album, Kind of Blue, which on the album there was a song called So What? And out of that song, So What? James Brown took that, he took that So What and created, I don't care about your thought. James Brown used that horn lick from Miles Davis as inspiration of one of his first funk hits to give us funk. But after Miles Davis did the most perfect album ever created, he left. And then he created Bitches Brew. Ooh, Bitches Brew, nigga? The first time electronic music instruments were introduced to jazz. He heard what Miles Davis was doing. I mean, he heard what, not Miles Davis. Miles Davis heard what Jimi Hendrix was doing on rock. He was inspired by Sly and the Family Stone and James Brown. So Miles Davis went from leading, and then he said, okay, let me incorporate some Jimi Hendrix, some James Brown, some Motown, and call it the Bitches Brew. And brought in electronic instruments and a psychedelic sound, Sly and the Family Stone. Mind you, this is funk before it gets to, this is funk before Ohio explodes. 1970. 69. Miles Davis ends the 60s and changes music forever. After changing music forever with Birth of the Cool, and then after Birth of the Cool, Kind of Blue. And not to be outdone, Miles Davis does that run in the early 70s. It's sort of his run with that sound flamed out around 70, 74, 75. Miles Davis leaves music in the late 70s. He leaves music. Then he comes back in 1983, 84, sometime around there, with Tutu. And Tutu, when Miles Davis came back, people are expecting Kind of Blue. They want that Miles Davis. They'll take Birth of the Cool, but they want some of that classic Miles Davis. But what does Miles Davis do? He said, man, fuck that old shit. I ain't playing that old shit. He does a cover of Michael Jackson. He introduces to the world electronic jazz cover tune of pop music. Changing music again. And I gotta hear Melly Mel tell me he created some shit. This Paso Robles done hit. What's it? Oh yeah, Quan said don't get them free advertisement. So I'm not gonna say where I got it from, but this is from the California Central Ghost Paso Robles, a 2021 Cabernet Sauvignon. Black people, we got real life superheroes. There we go. Looking for my power bank. We got for real life superheroes. We don't have to honor people who sampled their way to the top. That want to say Fat Joe can say nigga because he's from the Bronx. We don't have to honor that. We have a lot of heroes. A lot of heroes. And if we're going to tell the whole truth about hip hop, it slowed progress of our music down significantly. And let me tell you why and how. From 1900s ragtime to Buddy Bolden in 1908 to Louis Armstrong 1920, Robert Johnson 1920s. I'm drawing a blank to his name, the father of God, Thomas Dorsey. What was it? Yeah, Thomas Dorsey. From that era to Fats Waller era to Cab Calloway's era, Chick Webb's era, we were always inventing something new all the times. When this sample-based form of music, hip hop, came around and got popularized, our innovative, and the same with house, because house is a sister to hip hop. House and hip hop became reliant on samples. House on disco, hip hop on funk, which are twin brothers and sisters of sister children of rhythm and blues. House and hip hop are the grandchildren. They became too reliant on what was done in the past. It slowed down the creation of what's next. See, when I talk about where hip hop harmed us, it ain't with, for me. It ain't with gangster rap. It's not even necessarily with the fuckboy era, with spending money on hoes and clothes. Less than the lyrics, where hip hop has cheated us, is it took away the musicality out of our music. That's where it hurt us the most. More so than talking about drugs or WAP or whatever. Really, where it really harmed us most, in my opinion, is the reliance on a 2-bar loop. And in today's hip hop, tick, 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 boom, tick, 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 boom. Tick, 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 30-second note, boom. Eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, 30-second note, boom. Eighth note, eighth note, eighth note, 30-second note, boom. 16th note, 16th note, 16th note, 30-second note, boom. No violins, no cellos, none of the beauty, no flutes. Listen to that song when I'm done, Daydreaming by Aretha Franklin. The way you just, the song is called Daydreaming, but it plays that, ooh, the music gives you the feel of dreaming. And then you got Hubert Laws on flute, flowering the song with just flavor on that flute. You got, I mean, no more background singers. Where did background singers go? The background singers added such a richness and a flavor to the music. All of that had to leave our sound for hip hop to thrive. Where are the horns? I mean live horns. You're right, True Bleed. Musically, hip hop made us lazy. Yeah, where are the arrangements? All of these segments and components of music had to die for hip hop to thrive. Just think about it. And with all that being said, hip hop allowed Drake in the door. And look at what Drake is doing, suing because he lost a fight and adding black content creators to the lawsuit. It's comfortable. He's irrelevant now, but y'all didn't see hip hop. Y'all didn't see him coming. And he's out of New York, by the way. See what I'm saying? I'm about to be up out of here, but I'm about to go up there and kick it with Rod. Matter of fact, I'm about to go. I'm about to listen to some fucking music. Got my AirPods. I'm about to get on these hoes and listen to some music before I go to bed. But we're missing a lot of components out of music because hip hop and house got niggas conditioned to 2-bar loops. It's not good for the mind. It's not good for expanding your mind and opening your mind. You need that music to keep your mind open. I thank y'all for listening. Oh, shit. I'm out of here, y'all. I gotta listen to some music before I go to bed. But yeah, I'll probably be with y'all tomorrow. I'm busy as hell. I've been running since 6 this morning. I had an anti-black racism training today in my offline world. And that shit was dope. They was telling me my reviews was good from the company. Cause y'all know I got a whole offline thing that I do that I don't talk about here on much. But I'm proud of myself for today's meeting, at least for the reviews that I got from the employees. So it's a beautiful thing. Life is beautiful. And salute to the people in the Altadena. If you want to donate to the victims of the Altadena fire, go to my show, the Altadena fundraiser show that I did a couple days ago. Click on those cash apps that I have in there. And please donate to victims of the fire. All right? There are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. We out.